Hi everyone, it's Robert here from danceFLOW. This morning is class 5 of danceFLOW qigong taichi express. My wife and I run danceFLOW in downtown Burlington, and our club is focused on ballroom, salsa, and Latin. But a key component of what we do is our fitness program. So danceFLOW Fitness is our higher cardio, but danceFLOW qigong taichi, the class that I'm doing this morning, and the express version of the class is a gentler form. We've been running danceFLOW, my wife and I, for almost 20 years now, and it's always a pleasure to share our knowledge with students in classes, but also with those of you online. So in the previous sessions, I introduce you to a seated form of Tai Chi and qigong. So for the next few sessions, again, every morning on Sundays at 9:20 here on Instagram and 8:20 on our Facebook page, I will do the standing form. So let's just do a quick recap first. Regardless of whether it's seated or standing versions of danceFLOW, it's very important to activate our qi. So to do that, this time I want you to, for today's class, is to clap your hands. So usually you can do it 3 times and you'll feel a little tingling on your fingertips. So the next part, you'll just warm your hands like we did in the seated versions the previous weeks. And that just creates a little bit of friction, and the friction then warms our palms. So once our palms are warmed, and traditionally this is done 9 times, but you can do as many as you need to feel that your palms are heating up. You want to place your palms now on your dantian. So the dantian again, the lower dantian in particular, is the area about 2 inches below your belly button and inward towards your spine. Traditionally, the man would place the right palm over the left, and the ladies traditionally would place the left palm over the right. Here in our classes, we don't have to be that sticky to tradition, just whatever makes you feel comfortable. So you want to start circling one way, so I'm just rotating, this time clockwise. And then you also want to circle the other way. And the circling of one way and the other way is expressed through the concept of yin-yang. And these are 2 polar opposite directions. So again, I'm circling one way and the other way. Later on for today's morning, I'll combine everything and we'll do a little bit longer. But I now want to introduce you to what is traditionally called the energy ball. So to do that, if you're joining me, why don't you place your right hand a little bit below your belly button and palms facing upwards, and your left hand, the palms roughly located below the rib cage and palms facing downwards. You want your hands also to feel as if you're holding a baseball. So very, very light. You're just about to reach for a baseball. So it's this curved idea with the fingers. And once more, you place one hand higher than the other, just like this. So the higher hand, you rotate forward and down. So it goes down like this, while the lower hand rotates forward and up. So again, the lower hand now rolls forward and up, while the lower hand rolls forward and down. So you have these 2 different motions that's happening, and if we do it simultaneously, we circle one way, and notice the hand change position, and we circle the other way. Once more, circle one way, and then you want to circle the other way. And the size of this energy ball, you want to basically be like the size of maybe a volleyball, even a basketball. Yeah, so you want it a little bit fuller. And this motion I'll describe as caressing the sun. There's so many beautiful metaphors in qigong and taichi. So using the sun as a metaphor, you want to caress the outside surface of the sun, little energy ball, and you want to reverse the polarity, reverse the directions, ebbing and flowing one way and the other way. Now, in the first number of classes, I also introduced 3 forms of breathing. So let's just do a quick recap of breathing. You want to treat your body as if it is a battery. And like a battery, there's a positive charge, and let's say it's up here, the positive charge, and a negative or grounding charge, which is down here. Now, the positive and negative doesn't mean that positive is good and negative is bad. It's just describing the 2 polar opposites of this energy flow. Yeah, so positive energies of the heavens is usually what it's described, and the grounding energy, the energy of the earth. So this transference of energy from one to the other describes the concept of yin-yang. And within our body, if we think of our body as a battery system, then what we want to do is the top of the battery is the crown of the head, and the base of the battery would be your perineum, the area just slightly below your groin. Now, with whatever form of breathing, the 3 that I've introduced previously, you always want to have your tongue on the upper palate. And what that does is to close the loop of this energy flow within the body, okay? If you don't close the tongue, then the 2 energy flows remain 2 halves. So the forward half starts from the crown. It would go forward this way on the forward part of the body. And the back half, let's say it's from the crown, goes down to the perineum, and it would flow in this way. But by closing the tongue and treating your body as a battery, we can combine both halves of this energy field and bring it into one continuous system. So by closing the tongue, the energy flows from the crown of the head downwards to the perineum, on the back, and back to the crown. So the cycling of energy is what we want to harness with our breathing. So I'm going to use version 1 of breathing. So that's with the tongue and breathing with the nose only. And let's restart the whole introduction again. So anytime you get up in the morning, maybe after you brush your teeth, you're walking around, you can do the seated form if you remember the seated form. And if you don't, future sessions I'll review that again. But you want to first clap your hands. And I usually do it 3 times, but you can do it maybe up to 5, whatever it takes to feel the tingling of the hands, beginning to activate qi. And Chinese qi means life energy. Then from there, you want to warm your hands, again called activating qi. So you'll find that your palms start to warm up. And traditionally this is done up to 9 times, but usually in the morning, our blood isn't circulating yet, we feel cold, you might want to do it a little bit longer. And then once a hand is warmed up, you first circulate your lower dantian. In previous classes I talked about the 3 levels of dantian. There's a lower, middle, and an upper dantian, but today let's just focus back on the lower dantian. So you want to circle one way with your hands or palms warmed up to breathe in. And I'm closing the loop inside my body with the tongue on the upper palate. And then you want to circle the other way to breathe out with the nose. So, breathe in again. And breathing out, circle the other way. Then from there, you want to create your little energy ball, okay? So you can place your right hand below, let's say towards your lower hip, and then the other hand above, let's say roughly where your rib cage is. So you want to circle to breathe in, and you circle the other way to breathe out. So tongue on the upper palate, circling to breathe in, and circling to breathe out. And once more. Breathe in. And breathe out. So that describes the general hand and the introduction of the energy ball. Throughout the next number of weeks in danceFLOW qigong Express, I'll be adding other movements. And especially for those of you new to Tai Chi, when I first took it, it was quite complicated. Yang Tai Chi was the specific version that I took, and it has over 108 movements, and of which has multiple mini movements. And one of the most difficult parts, especially when you're first learning Tai Chi, is all the transitioning of the hand movement. So I'm with danceFLOW qigong Express, breaking down some of the motions and getting you used to muscle memory of some of these basic motions, and then continuing to expand the motions as the weeks progress. Now let's talk about how to stand properly, okay? So for now, put your ankles and your big toes together, and you want your knees to be basically over, sending your knees and your thighs towards the second toe of your foot, of your feet, all right? So let's say your right knee, you send it a little bit forward towards the second toe of your right foot, and your opposite knee a little bit forward towards the second toe of your foot. And you just want to send the knee and thigh forward enough so that it goes towards the center of the foot. And that should start to send your body in lower towards the floor. You want to feel as if, and I'll turn sideways to you, as if you're sitting on a very high bar stool, okay? So you're just about to sit on the high bar stool. You're not actually physically going to sit on the stool. You're just about to sit, and that keeps it flexed. Now your neck and your throat, generally you want your throat to be forward a little bit beyond the hip, but no further than your thigh. So you don't want to overlean, and that causes too much strain and stress. You want to be in a balanced position. So you lightly send your neck, your throat, a little bit beyond your hip, but no further than your thigh. So this will just help you to understand how the body starts to align itself. Once you feel a little bit more comfortable doing this, then you just want to shift your weight, maybe a little bit more to your right. I'm going to shift to my left. And then you send the opposite foot sideways a little bit, and no further than the heels of the hands follow the underarm, and your big toes follows the line of your pecs, your pectoral muscles. All right? So now you're in a slightly wider stance. In future weeks, we'll talk about horse stance, which is even wider. But these opening movements, let's start up gently. So again, after you close your feet, you open it up a little bit, and therefore comfortably, you want your big toes to be aligned with the pecs, and your back of the heels aligned with the underarm, the zone of your underarm. So once you have that, you lean the neck, your throat a little bit forward. Again, no further than the thigh. So lean it towards a little bit beyond the hips, but no further than the thigh. And from there, you have this opening stance. You also want the back to be as if you're going to sit onto a high bar stool. Okay? Now, let's restart the exercise again, and let's add now the standing positions and how to stand properly. So, activate chi. Clap a few times, minimum 3 times. Start to warm your hands. Qi again is life energy, and gong just means the cultivation and practice of energy. Once it's warmed up and you've done a few rounds of warming the dantian, this is the area about 2 inches below the belly button and inward towards the spine. If you're standing, you're doing martial arts, it's roughly the area of your center of mass. Very, very key area. That's why a lot of physical exercises, physical activities focus on the core, the power from the core. So we're nurturing the core. Metaphorically, the dantian houses most of our internal organs, and in future classes I'll talk about that. So once your dantian is warm, you do the breathing in, breathing out, circling the other way. It's always best to put relaxed music or inspirational music, and you use the pulses of the music and the beats to guide the flow of your breathing, the flow of the arms circling one way, breathing in, and circle the other way, breathing out. And now you want to form the energy ball. So for you, maybe place your right hand lower and your left hand above. So now we start to circle and cycle. Tongue on the upper palate, nose breathing, version 1 of breathing only. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in, relax the shoulders. Tongue on the upper palate, breathe out with the nose. Now rotate slightly towards your right inner thigh and cycle through again to breathe in. Breathe out. Imagine you're caressing the sun. Breathe in. Breathe out. You keep the knuckles of your hands, your wrists, your forearms soft. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now rotate to the opposite inner thigh and cycle through again to breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Soften your shoulders, soften the forearms, breathe out. And notice the metaphor of yin-yang as expressed through these motions. What is high on the energy of the heavens returns to the energy or grounding energy of the earth. And we're dealing with two hands moving as one system. So breathing in, breathing out. Send it back to the center of your dantian area. So breathe in, breathe out. Soften your shoulders, soften your forearms to breathe in. And breathe out. At some point, you'll find, and maybe you already will feel this, but are unaware of this, that there will be a little bit of a tingling on your fingertips. And that will be a good thing. And the more you do this with muscle memory, the faster you will sense the tingling. And it is the qi circulating towards the nerve endings of your fingertips. And not only that, you'll start to observe and feel the warming of the palms at a much faster rate. So again, with danceFLOW, qigong, taichi, here in our online class, I want to move you into a point where all of these motions become muscle memory. So we'll focus on the physical part of these exercises first. Over time, coordinated with the breathing, I'll start to talk through how the mind works with the motion. Qigong has been called Chinese yoga or meditation, moving meditation. And rotate now to the inner thigh of one leg. Breathe in. And breathe out. I started qigong tai chi when my mom was going through breast cancer, and many of you may have heard that in my previous introductions. It was something that I could do with my father. It was a great healing process, also a good relationship process for us to, come together every weekend. And hopefully you're doing that also with me every weekend. The videos are up 24 hours. Here on Instagram, I do it 9:20 in the morning on Sundays. If you want to join earlier and do a longer session, you can start with me on Facebook at facebook.com/dancescape.tv. Now, as you do this, breathing in and out, if you feel your hands start to get cool at any time, you'll just again rub your hands, or you can clap your hands and then rub it again, just to activate the qi, having the friction help with the rubbing back and forth. All right? Well, thank you very much for joining me again on danceFLOW qigong taichi express. And we'll see you next week, next Sunday, where we'll continue to expand on the energy ball, as well as focusing for the next number of weeks on the standing forms and the standing opening movements. In future sessions, we'll start to combine everything so it becomes one continuous exercise. You'll also learn a little bit of dancing as I introduce you to a little bit of rumba for gentle cardio. These are also very usable steps for those of you who plan to go social dancing but don't know how to dance. And then at some point you'll start to recognize the interconnection of some of these movements. Reinterpreted in a slightly different way becomes dance, but reinterpreted for martial arts or qigong taichi becomes a great form of fitness, a way to be able to manage the thoughts in your mind, especially those of you suffering from pain, whether it's through physical ailments, chronic arthritis, or anxiety and depression, which I've had to cope with, especially social anxiety. So thank you once again. Have a great morning, and we'll see you next week.